All right. So, Marcello, you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent. So, guys, listen, welcome back to the Redemption Podcast. And today's episode is going to be so amazing. And I'm glad you guys are here to join. I brought one of my gym bros, and the story that he has, the story that he lives, is something so important. One of the reasons why I really wanted to bring him on here is because, there's times where God brings people into my life. And what I will tell you right now is that this man that I'm bringing to you guys came to me, and I think it was God sent. I think that one of the biggest things is that what I have is such a high level of admiration for this man. One, just because of the man who he is, but also to the story that he's been living, the things that God has brought him through. And again, he's a guy, one of my brothers from the gym, and I can't wait to share his story. And the stories we're going to talk about, these are some of these stories that we talk about are built on grind, but others are built on fighting to live again. And so today, when we talk to a man, he's a man who refuses to let loss define him. So let me bring him in, my boy Marcello. Marcello, there you are. How you go? How you doing,
Hey,
brother?
good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, man. I'm so excited to have you on the pod today. I know I saw you this morning in the gym. How's your workout go?
It went out good. It worked out good. I had to cut a little short because I had to go volunteer, but yeah, it was good.
My
It's always
man,
good.
my man. Look, you always doing that doing God's work, man. So I'm excited. So let me do this, man, because I really want to be able to give everyone an opportunity here. I just want, first of all, I'm going to say this because you're here. You're on the screen. One thing, man, is that as we go through this podcast today, one of the most important things that I think is important about connecting with you today is telling your story. But I just want to say this to you, from man to man, brother to brother, men of God. I just want to tell you, man, first of all, thank you for doing this with me. I know that, this platform has a lot that is on it, and I really think this is a special moment. So again, like I said before, man, from my heart to yours, man, I just want to tell you thank you, and God bless you for allowing me to share your story with the rest of the people on this podcast. So
Oh, no problem at all.
yeah, man. So typically when I do these podcasts and I do these interviews, I just want to have a conversation like we do in the gym. But I really want to make sure that we just kind of walk through things. So let's start here, man. One of the things I want to start with is just talk about the day everything changed for you.
Day, everything changed. My life changed on not only my life, my family's life too as well. On
Amen.
11/25/23, that was a Saturday after Thanksgiving. Um, at that time, I met my couple of my friends. I ride a Harley, a
Mm,
2007 Road King. Met them in where were we at here? We met them in Whittier. Then we drove all the way to Pomona,
mm,
and for the event. But we met at a car wash right off the 10 freeway in Fairview, or
mm,
Fairplex.
mm,
And then there's probably about another five more came in, and then we all rode in together to this event. They do it every year. It's a Saturday after Thanksgiving. Donate toys, help kids, have an amazing Christmas. It was a good event. So we were there hanging out. I had to leave early. Uh, I left probably about right at 2 o'clock, pulling out of on White Avenue, and then making a right on McKinley. Uh, that's right there by the fire department, and I believe, yeah, the fire department station, police department area. I passed that. There was a car in front of me about 200 yards. I decided to give my Harley, got up to about 40 miles per hour. Um, Green light, no car in front of that car, so I didn't think anything why she would stop.
mm,
Well, she decided to put her brakes on. Um, so I had to make a I had to make a quick decision.
mm.
I couldn't go left of her because of oncoming traffic. It's a
Right.
two-way highway, two-lane highway. So blue car coming, so I couldn't do that. I didn't want to hit her, so I decided to go around her on the right. As I went around her on the right, I couldn't get around her fast enough before the street curved. So I hit the curve, and I probably flew maybe, I don't know, 20 feet.
Wow.
Why I hit the curb, I flew. And me being a rider, here's the thing about being a rider. Everybody should know, and if anybody tells you different, they're lying. It's all going to go down. It's just when. It's a
Mm,
matter of when. We're not saying we're going to go down. It doesn't matter. It could be our fault, no, someone else's fault, but we're going to go down. Um, So I knew I was going to go down one day, and how do I say it? I break an arm, break a leg, lose some skin, but not in a million years did I ever think that I would lose a limb. So going back, so when I flew into this bush, I turned my body, turned it around, and I hit my back, went through the bush, and there's a chain link fence behind it. Bounced off that. Thank God for that fence, because if that fence wasn't there, I would have fell 20 feet.
Wow.
Embankment. Yeah, it's a trailer, a storage place there, and thank God for that fence. Um, I bounced off. I just remember being stuck, my left arm being up high, trying to move. I couldn't really move it, couldn't move, and then cried for help in a way. And then I heard people talking, and that's all I remember. And then the chainsaws. I heard chainsaws start. They had to cut me out of the where I was in where I went through the bush. Had to cut the whole bush out.
Wow.
If you look at it today, I've gone back my 1 year anniversary and my second year anniversary. There was a big hole. There's no bush there, and I put a cross there with some flowers and a butterfly. Butterfly symbols my mom, but I'll get to that a little bit later about that. So after that, I heard the chainsaws, and I just remember being lifted up, and pressure on my leg just kind of relieved. Like there was, I don't know, like it just started flowing. But I guess they had to put two tourniquets on me
Wow.
to stop the bleeding. I was hemorrhaging. I don't remember the ride in the ambulance. I don't remember being in the ER. Um, so the story I'm about to tell you now is from what after I woke up. I didn't wake up till Sunday at, but I will say about 2 p.m. around there. When I woke up, and my accident just happened at 2:06, so 24 hours. Don't know anything what happened, but I woke up and my nephew and my sister-in-law left of me. But I'm laid down on the bed. If you're laying down on the bed straight, looking straight to the ceiling, I'm tied down with my arms. I have a neck brace. I'm intubated. Waking up and then seeing my nephew cry and my sister-in-law cry. I'm trying to cry. I can't cry. Um, the tube in my throat. So they informed the nurse that I was awake. She came in, and then the doctor came in and told my family to step outside and shut the door. At this time, when I woke up, I felt pain in my on my leg, not knowing that I lost it yet. Not knowing I lost it yet. So when they went outside and they shut the door, that's when I knew something was really, really wrong. They wouldn't take my family outside and had the doctor talk to them without me. So I think they're trying to protect me from something. So as soon as the nurse and her assistant took out my tube, I looked at her and asked her, "Did I lose my leg?" She hesitated, but she told me yes. But she told me this too as well. She goes, "Look, since you arrived in the ICU, you've had so many family and friends here 24/7. Since you've been in here, they've been here constantly, coming in and out. I've been a nurse for so many years that there's people that come in just like you that have nobody. Use that as motivation." I didn't get that at first until the doctor walked back in and my family there, and the doctor decided to tell me exactly what happened. So he says that with my extremities, that I was got to the emergency room. Not even 2 minutes later, they rushed me to surgery.
Wow.
I was that bad. I had to use 15 units of blood, a lot they had to give me. They had to cut my right thigh, inner thigh, to try to save my left leg. He couldn't, so he amputated. He had to cut it to save my life, but he cut it below the knee. And my first words were, "Thank you, I'm alive."
Right.
And then went on to tell me that I had to have another surgery 3 days later to go above the knee so I can get fitted for a prosthetic leg. But during that time with my family in there, I wanted to scream, mentally wanted to scream, because only seeing when you get raised up on a bed, and this was the hardest moment of my recovery, completely of my recovery, is only seeing getting raised up and only seeing one leg on the bed. Just wanted to scream, but I couldn't because I have my kids and my family in there. I had to be strong. I had to get through this situation. Don't know why God challenged me. Didn't know my purpose. Didn't know any of that. All I know is that I need to feel better. But afterwards, I think after the nurse took out my tube and everything, I'm talking. I turned my nurse Haley and looked at her and says, "Hey, when do I get to go home?" She started laughing. She goes, "It hasn't even been 24 hours. You need to just take one day at a time and be patient." And that's stuck on me. I had to learn to be patient because I'm a go getter. I've always worked. I've always been a single father since my daughter was born. I've raised her since I was a father since 20 years old.
Wow.
So I have three kids, but then I got married. But being a single father, I had to provide for my daughter and my kids. And when you have kids, you do whatever you can for your kids,
Right.
and you want to do better. So that's where my life changed. And not only did my life change, it's my kids, because their faces when they first came to the bed, when I saw them, I could just tell I scared them. So here's the story that I'm going to tell you that I found out through
Well,
them. This is
let
all
me
through them.
well let me do this because I think what you said a lot, man, and I want to just give a moment just to acknowledge a few things, man. First of all, I'm over here getting emotional, by the way, because the thing that's catching me is that I know God does the work on us, and I can imagine, I'm picturing the entire story. Even you driving down, being on the highway, thinking about the position where the car was, and you trying to avoid the car, and those like last second decisions you have to make. Right, you're over here
Hmm.
trying to protect this lady's car and your bike in a way, but more her car, and then end up jeopardizing your livelihood. One of the things that stuck out in that part is that sometimes we focus on the problem, but you realize that like God saved your life by putting that fence there, right? And you made a
Hmm.
point to talk
Hmm.
about that. And I think too, when I think about that, is that happens in our lives, no matter if we think about it anyway. Like God, there's always something protecting us bigger. Although this accident happened to you, I know we're going to get into this because you're starting to kind of talk about it. But these events, sometimes we have a choice, and I think men who understand these challenges that God may give us understand that there's work that God is doing in it to serve more purpose. You've already had it being a dad and being a single father and having to grind and hustle and do whatever it takes. But I think it's important. And then as you started talking about the position you were in, being in the hospital and not really knowing what was going on, but had the sense that something was wrong, especially like I can like the whole thing when you talked about the doctor bringing your family out, it's almost
Hmm.
like, what can't you say to them in front of me? It's like the other way around. Like you should be talking to me and keeping them out of the room. Right.
Yeah.
But again, that's again, God's grace trying to protect you. And also too, like, I think what they wanted to do probably wasn't necessarily you couldn't hear it. They just didn't want you to see the reaction from your family because that probably would be a little bit more harder for you at the same time. Right. So there's grace in all of that. The one thing I'll say, and I'll let you, and I don't want to keep, slow down your flow. I just wanted to acknowledge that is that, you know, when we're talking about this, and I'll just make it clear here, is that in your accident, most people understand when you talk to you lost it's your left leg, right?
Correct. My left
Yeah,
leg.
yeah, and in that time, we're right now in the part of the story you're talking about, everything that happened from the hospital, and pretty much 24 hours after you're trying to go home, you're like, you like, let's get this thing going, and the reality of that too, for someone who's a grinder, somebody who just who just who works and knows his purpose, it's like your life is changing like this at this moment, or it should say it's changed, right?
It's changed.
And yeah, and it's a part now that's changed. Now it's part you changing, right? Like the physical part changed, and I think that's where we can go on, but I just wanted to, like, I think you touched on everything that I was wanting to hear about that, and I just wanted to tell you, it's this is one of the reasons one of the I'll say this is one of the reasons why I wanted you on here, because sometimes we'll have all the abilities and then it takes nothing but a second for that to change, and that's what
Oh,
you've talked about.
life is short. Life is.
Yeah.
It took a tragedy to make me realize that before my tragedy, before my life change, I let life pass me.
Mm.
Now I don't let life pass me, But in a token, I have longer days because there's days where I can't do certain things. I get tired so easy.
Right.
So, but one thing I did learn is us men, us men and being general men,
Mm-hmm.
don't like to ask for help.
Right.
And if we ask for help in our mind, because the way we are brought up and raised, some people, that makes you think that you're weak.
Right.
Um, but that's far. That's not even far from the case. Doesn't make me weak.
Mm-hmm.
It made me what I did to get where I'm at now. The help I got, I am a 100% better man than I was before.
Wow. Wow.
Just imagine you look being in the hospital and having someone a nurse clean you. You got to put your pride away. You
Right.
got to let she has her job to do, but in the same token, you don't want someone cleaning you that you don't know.
Right.
But they had to. There's nothing. I couldn't move my shoulder because I had a torn rotator cuff as well,
Wow.
so I couldn't do that. I was in pain. This fucking shit was. I'm glad I was there.
Right.
It's you work and you're going to be working and you have a job. You go, hey, the weekend's over. Okay, I got to go to work. You know, now I don't know what I was going to do. I had no purpose. I didn't know what God wanted me to do. Um, I was lost, but I'm also used my nurses, what she told me, as motivation of everybody that came to see me. And I know a lot of my friends, and I was only in Pomona Valley Hospital over off the
Mm.
10. So a lot of my family live over here in La Mirada, Whittier,
Mm-hmm.
in this area. To go over there after work, you already know the traffic going
Right.
eastbound is
Right.
fucking crazy. So I
Right.
told like my kids, I didn't have my boys come see me a lot because I didn't want them sitting in that traffic.
Right.
It's but we video called. My daughter was there every day. She was my advocate, and if it wasn't for
Mm.
her, she called my work. She got my short-term disability going, so
Nice.
I get paid. She was giving the family updates when people can come visit me because I had my second surgery.
Mm.
That I thought like even when I come out, I'm in pain already. The second surgery, man, that pain it was ridiculous.
Because you said they had to go and cut above your knee this
You had
time,
to
right?
go above the cut, yeah, because he
Mm-hmm.
just to save my life. He had to cut below the knee,
Okay.
and they had to go back in there and clean it up and make it so I could get fitted for a prosthetic.
Mm.
Um, the thing about having, well, during that time, so they had PT in there. I had to do PT. I couldn't really do much PT because I couldn't move my shoulder.
Right.
Um, so at the hospital, I didn't do a whole lot of PT till I got transferred. After 2.5 weeks, I got transferred to another hospital called Casa Colina, and it's a rehabilitation hospital. It's in Pomona too as well.
Oh, okay.
That is where the pain
Mm.
was was unbearable. I'm glad for medication. I'm glad
Yeah.
man, it,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. You sometimes you think you're tough until you have to be tough.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So,
By the way,
but
how old was your daughter at the time that you had the accident?
see here. She's 33, 31.
Okay. Good.
She
Okay.
just,
She's older.
she was probably 30. She just turned, yeah, because her birthday's in January.
Nice.
So, but the good thing, so I was there for 2.5 weeks
Okay.
and at Pomona Valley Hospital, they transferred to Casa Clima there. Those 2.5 weeks there where I had to do PT and OT 3 hours a day for 6 days out of the week. So 6 days out of the week, I had to
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Wow.
But they broke it up. They didn't have to do 3 hours all in 3 hours once.
Mm-hmm.
So I might do an hour in the morning, and then maybe another half hour after I eat lunch, and then in the afternoon another whatever hour and a half. So they
Mm.
broke it up. But after the routine, so I was a newcomer, so I had the worst times.
Ah.
But after being there for a week, they started doing more in the morning. But to try to move your leg, to try to move your arm, I'm literally I literally cried. I literally cried during PT. Um, but I knew I had to push myself because if I didn't do it now, and I know by just working out, just imagine you know your muscles just you don't move your leg or anything for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Right.
You know those muscles is just going to get tight. It's
Right.
going to get tight, and it's going to make it harder.
Right.
And I knew I had to push myself, and I did. Um, I was
What do you,
determined to be home before Christmas. That was my
wow.
goal.
Wow.
That was my goal.
So what do you think? What do you think? Like, because again, you know, this is unexpected. You know the kind of man you are, but now you're faced with different circumstances. Like, you got pain, limitation. If you want me to say this word, I'm going to say it. If you're okay with me saying, there's disability, right? Like you're
Mhm.
unable to do the things you normally do. Um, like, what were you like? Talk like what were you saying to yourself? Like, what when you were going through this pain and stuff like that? Like, what was in your mind? Like, what were you saying? Like,
Um, just try to get through the day. Um, be
okay,
strong for my daughter that was there. Um, didn't want to cry
right,
in front of her or my kids, you know, but I did sometimes. I as a parent, doesn't matter what, you know, what I put them through was a lot, and every day that my family, the cards, the texts that I received from everybody, that kept me fighting. I kept pushing. That made me push. That really made me
yeah,
push. Um, I didn't want to. I don't know. I didn't. I think. How do I say this? I accepted what happened. I accepted what happened. I had to because if I would have done the yeah buts or I would have if I should have could have, you know, I
right,
think I would have drove myself crazy and instead of I would have been blaming everybody else and not focusing on my recovery.
right,
And I wouldn't be here at this moment if it wasn't for that. Is you got to accept what happened. Doesn't matter if it's your fault, someone else's fault. Um, God challenges us
right,
in so many different ways. You
right,
know, like you said, you know, it's hard. Life is a roller coaster. You know,
right,
we have our peaks, you know, and then we're up. But if we're down, we're down. But it doesn't mean we're down forever.
right,
You know, we got to go back. We get to go back up. But it depends on the person who you are and the people around you.
right,
Some people get back up on that roller coaster, start climbing sooner than others because they got a great support team.
right,
Others don't have that. Some people don't have anything, so they keep on just sitting right in that little valley, and that can't get back up. And that's where I kind of realized when my nurse, what she told me about use that as motivation. Okay, well, I got a lot of family and friends. Imagine now if I didn't, how would I feel? I'd be fuck. I'd be lonely. I'd
right,
probably drive myself crazy.
right,
And that's when I realized that's my purpose. But I knew I still had a long ways to go before I could help somebody. I still had to deal with me accepting who I am, being disabled or losing a limb, you know, dating single
right,
father is
right,
already hard enough, you
right,
know,
right,
trying to have a process. Hey, you know, you don't show your leg off. You know, I'm not going to shine away from it, but you know, people's reaction is like, oh, you know, you know, they didn't give me time of day. I didn't lie
right.
about it,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
and that's and that,
let me interject for a second because there's a few things you said I thought were really good. Excuse me. One of the things you know you talked about at first, and I should have brought this up earlier, but the blessing of having everyone show up for you, right, and the love that
Mhm.
you, Albert, was that expected or unexpected? Did you
oh, just
did
unexpected. I have
yeah
a big family. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has a
right
big family, but it's the love and support that I received through my friends and family that were there.
right
The calls, I just feel blessed. I was honored in a way that I feel so loved.
right,
You know,
and I think
you know, family. Look, every family has a dysfunctional family.
right right right
You know,
right. Don't we
you
all?
know, my family. Don't get me wrong. My family wasn't like the Crosbys. You
Right
know,
right
but I love my family. There's some families I'm closer to others. There's some family members we don't get to see
right
because as time goes, they have kids, they grow, and you can't fit your family like you used to in the house
Right.
now. Then my family's so big, but I'm blessed, and that's why I also on my back of my neck I have a tattoo, blessed. I put
Nice.
that on afterwards.
Nice.
That's why I wasn't expected. I just feel honored to be alive and the love I support. It makes me appreciate, and that's what makes me work harder.
Yeah. Well, you know what I was gonna say was, it's a little bit. I talk a lot about like being in situations where you have to have a mindset, and what you had to face was big. But I wanted to kind of think about this. You kind of said it already, but when you talked about having your family there, uh, I think some people go, well, you're lucky you have all that family. I'm like, well, the other part of that is it's hard too, because your family, like your daughter and the people that you are directly impacting, but then at the same time, you have all these people loving you. It's also like you don't want to let them down. Like you're coming out of a situation, even like holding back your emotions, trying to protect them or not to let them see you weak. There's a lot. But then on the other end, it's like, well, if they weren't there, you're like, man, I'd be in a bad place. And it's almost like, one, let's not forget, because it's not about the amount of people that are in your life. It's that the people that aren't in your life that are there for you. Sometimes it could be just a few. And that, like, there's some people where, it's like you appreciate those things. And I think the thing that I took away from that is not everybody has the opportunity to have a large family. And, I pray that it doesn't take a tragic accident for people to show their love, because something I've made a point of in my life is that, they say give people flowers now, but it's like, how you and I talk, and I'm sure you watch me in the gym most of the time, you get to see me talking to people, but I do that because in the moment, God is asking me to, really focus. What I'll do, bro, is I'll pause for a second just to let you
Oh, okay.
do your thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Just let
just
you do
kidding.
your thing.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
No,
Sorry about
you
that.
got people in your house. Yeah, I got it. No, you're all
No,
right.
I have to plug in my
Oh, your
laptop.
battery's dying. Yeah, I'll let you do your thing.
Sorry about
We'll take
that.
them. No, you're good. You're good. We had to take a quick little break just to get them situations figured out. But what I wanted, just to get us back focused on this, is that, we talk about the love of family and having people in your corner. And then some people don't have the blessing to have people in their corner, right? And it's like, what is it going to take for
Right.
them to get out of it? And I think, what you started talking about is, the fight that you've had, the fight that you had dealing with the pain, then dealing with, and you had additional injuries. And it wasn't just like you lost your leg, like you still had to recover from other things. But then at the same time, in your head, going back to, what was it, 24 hours? I mean, literally when you woke up and the nurse tells you like, hey, people come in here and they have these accidents. But one thing I can tell you is that they don't have the kind of people that's showing up in your life. And I think that's a blessing. But I also think that people who aren't in that situation, the lesson to them is that, God is there. Because I kid you not, based on what you're telling me so far, I can think of how God is orchestrating himself in your life. Because the one thing you've already said as you started talking about this is that you become a better man because of this process, because of what's happened. And a lot of times people say, man, this happened to me and it's woe is me. And to your point, woulda, coulda, shoulda, all these things that you can start second guessing. That's not it. You said you had to accept what's happened. You've had to accept the accident. But I think what you're really getting to is figuring out what's happening in this moment. What are you grabbing out of it? And it's not to feel bad about yourself, because you do realize you have responsibility and still have all those things. But life shifts for you, right? And the shift that's happening, now you're talking about being a single dad, but also being a man has a prosthetic. Now you got to date different, like it's a challenge. And I'll be just not that this is the topic, but we know that the dating world is not a easy thing right now. Right. And
Oh
so,
no. Oh
yeah,
no.
so
Um,
that's another challenge that you've had to,
so
face as well.
yeah. I
So
did find love, but that's another. I'll tell you that later. But
that's what I'm talking about. Well, you can tell me if you want to talk, tell me the love story, bro. I
oh,
want to hear it.
um, so my girlfriend Rosie, I met her before my accident. I met her in 2017.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, through online.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. I I never had good luck with women. They were always jealous of my ex-wife.
Okay.
Um, I have two. So I was married once.
Okay.
I have two boys. My daughter is from a different mom, so I have two mamas.
Okay.
That was my plan, but I raised my daughter. I've been the daughter. I mean, I've been the mother and father for my daughter.
Wow.
But I'm thankful for my girl cousins. I have a lot of girl cousins.
Okay.
Uh, but
Good.
so I met this Rosie in 2017, and we talked. We went out a few times.
Mm-hmm.
It just maybe it wasn't our time
Right.
at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But we kept in. We talked periodic throughout the years. Kept in touch here and there. So after my accident, I'm home already, and Facebook dating something came up, and then she was, "Hey, you're compatible with this Rosie." And I looked at it, and I go, "Oh shit!" So I sent it, screenshot, and sent it to her.
Yeah.
So she looked at it, and she just kind of, she laughed out loud, but she didn't realize what happened to me. So she went on my
Mm.
Facebook and found out what happened, and she was like, "Man." So she called me, and she goes, "You know what, Marcelo? If you didn't text me that, I would have never known that you almost died and you lost a leg. I would
Wow.
have never known." She goes, "And then if you would have died, I would have known that, and I would have been sad because I know you're a nice guy."
Mm-hmm.
So she was going through some issues, family issues, like with her parents and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
of getting older.
Right.
I have my father. He's older. He's 89. I got
Mm.
to take care of him. He has dementia. Um, so that's another challenge I got to do.
Yeah, you're a beast,
Uh,
bro.
so we started talking, going out, and we became, how do I say it? Before we jumped in the sack, and then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of, oh, hey,
Yeah.
hey, isn't she's good? Okay, then you try to learn about each other, but then you realize you guys are not good for you. Like you try too much,
Right.
and I go, nah, no. I didn't want drama in my life. That's after my accident. No, there
Mm-hmm.
was no drama. Any red flag, I was
Gone.
gone. I was gone. But so we started becoming just best friends. We just talked. Never kissed her, never grabbed her hand, never
Mm.
anything. I opened the door for her. I paid for dinner. She paid, but majority I paid. But it was
Mm-hmm.
just conversation, and we would sit there. The first night we went out to Cheesecake Factory in Brea, and we had our dinner was nice. We were the first ones kind of in there, and then it got crowded. Then she goes, "Hey, this guy's like, people are on top of you, so when you're talking, you could probably hear this conversation next to
Right.
you."
Right.
So we went outside, and we're by my truck. 'Cause I have a handicap parking, so I get to park close.
Right.
So
Benefits, right?
yeah, so we
Right.
were by my truck, and literally we talked for about an hour outside, and we just kept on
Mm.
talking. It was a great conversation, and then we went out to movies, went out to
Nice.
dinner again, and then eventually I made the move and kissed her, and she goes, "Yeah, I was wondering when you were going to do that,"
Yeah.
and we ever since then it's been going, and
That's great.
I really found love. She accepted me for who I am. She wasn't trying to change me. She
Mm.
understood that what I'm going through. She accepted my boy's mom,
Mm.
um, and there was no jealousy. She understood, and she doesn't have no kids.
Bro.
So, but she has some nieces that she's raised and
There's,
stuff, but she doesn't, and I'm okay with that. And so it's just our relationship is growing and growing. So I'm very blessed.
yeah. Man, so are you guys married?
No,
Okay. Okay.
no.
Okay. So let me say this. So, I some episodes before I was talking about like, power of like men and women and partnership and everything else. And
Hmm.
there's a scripture, it's Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 9, but it talks about laboring together, right? And it's really important that I bring this up because it's something I talk to my wife about and we talk about, and it's that we weren't built to do things alone, even though like it sounds like you were going through this process already by yourself. It's like you still had your family, and then she comes along, and it's like it carries you even more into it because now you have relationship, you fall in love, you have friendship, you build that, right? And what's important about it, and I'll just say this because I pour into it, is that when we think about like alignment, especially from this perspective how God designed this thing, it's important that we realize that this woman in your life, like God when you connect that part and you do it, it multiplies. And so it sounds like just as you were talking and you were like, even us even getting, because I actually didn't even have that here to talk about, but I'm glad we did, because I think a lot of men that may watch this podcast and hearing your story, never experienced the loss of losing a limb of any sort. But also too, I think what happens is, because we're going to get into more of this stuff to really bring out kind of where your mind is at and everything else. But I think the most important part about this is like, you're a dude, bro, and like you said, you never expected these things to happen. But now that it does, like, how are you showing up? You got a love life, you got a great family. You mentioned about volunteering. You're doing all these things. You're taking care of your dad who has dementia, which I know that's even a challenge. It's hard for a lot of people. So, you're built a certain way, Marcello, and I think like, if I'm not, you mentioned earlier how you visited the accident spot and you put a cross there. I want to bring you back to. Is a butterfly you mentioned? Was it a butterfly you said? Yeah.
Yeah, but so my second year anniversary, I went to take flowers and I saw a butterfly, steel butterfly that you could put in there and use there. My mom, she passed away, and here's the thing too. So in 2023, not only did I lose my leg, 2023 in January I lost my mom.
Wow.
In May 4th, I broke my left ankle at work making delivery. And then July 22nd, on my birthday, I broke the same ankle twice.
Wow.
I had and I had to have surgery this time. So they had to put a
The
pin
screw
and two
process.
screws in. And then November, I lost my leg. So that's all happened in one year,
Is this on this? And this is on the same leg.
all in the same leg.
God, God said, I don't want you using that trash ankle
Well,
anymore, right?
yeah, but when my kids my when Amanda found out that I was in the hospital and this and that, everybody was hoping. They didn't know which leg it was or what
Oh, they were
happened,
like,
so they were all praying that it was the bad ankle.
right.
Because
Wow.
if it was my good ankle, I would have been screwed.
Yeah, because
Uh,
you'd have had to deal with labor on that, and you already have a problem
yeah,
with it. Yeah. Wow.
yeah,
That's a big
yeah,
deal. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not, and I don't mean to make light of it, but bro, like that, like the scenario couldn't have been any better, right? Because again, you didn't fall 20 feet. You had the fence that saved you. They were able to save your life, all that stuff. Then if you thought about it, like if you're going to lose a leg, take the bad ankle, right? Get rid of that
yeah,
thing you've already had.
yeah,
And crazy thing is the fact that you broke your ankle twice within a couple months, right? It sounds like,
yeah,
if I'm, am I mistaken? Yeah. So,
yeah. May, July.
yeah. And so, I'll say this too, and much respect and condolences for losing your mom, man. But I think like, what you're telling me, this is anybody listening to you right now, Marcelo, and not hearing the fact that like we all have challenges is different and relative, right? And sometimes you don't even know what you're built for until you actually have to go through it. And
You, yeah. Let me put this. You have to go through adversity to grow, and
right,
it sucks. You know, it's just like any football team or any sports.
yeah,
You keep on winning, 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 and when you lose that one game that
right,
year, it's going to bring you back to humble, and I really appreciate it.
mm-hmm,
But to lose my mom, I didn't have time to grieve for my mom because I had to take care of my dad.
right,
It was
wow,
hard. I never took care of my dad. So my 1 year anniversary, I got closure because I'll tell you this: I felt the presence of my mom push me back down. I felt
wow,
like when me ready to go, I thought I was going to go. And
mm,
imagine this: if my dad would have lost me and my mom in the same year, I don't think my dad would have made it.
wow,
There, so that's the reason why I went back there the first year is
wow,
also to visit the site and also get closure with my mom, and I
mm-hmm,
and I got closure. And I also have a friend that went with me on the first year, um, and she helped me, and she was she's a good friend,
right,
and she helped me with that, and I appreciate that help that day of my journey. And then the second year, I went back by myself, um, and as a matter of fact, I went back and I went to go volunteer afterwards,
wow,
and it was on a Thursday and no Tuesday,
mm,
and I had the anniversary to go back to. I felt good, and going in talking to people, it's just grateful, and that's why the reason I got the butterfly for the second year is just she's there, she's always watching over me, and that's a symbol of her because every time we go somewhere, my mom loved butterflies, and
Mm.
so we every time we're doing something, even with my kids, we're somewhere we see a butterfly. Um, it's I think my mom's like flying watching, just letting her know she's watching us.
Yeah, 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 man. Wow. Well, listen, respect to your mom, and I think one of the things I'll say, you've as you shown up to me in the gym, I've seen people that, there's quite a few guys in our gym that have prosthetics. There's at least 3 or 4 that I've seen. I think there's like
I seen
three.
two, one of them, Robert. I talked to Robert, but there's
Right.
another one I seen, but I never seen him again. It's just because of the time I go.
Yeah. Right.
So
Right, but I think there's at least 3 or 4, and and everyone has a story. I think Robert's story is also from a motorcycle as well.
correct, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and to be honest with you, my whole life, like, there was a time, especially when I started dating my wife, where I was thinking about getting a street bike, right? And then I was like, oh, and then my friends were like, no, let's do Harleys, and my wife was like, oh, that'd be fun, she's down for all that. But then I started thinking like, oh no, like, there's a lot. It's not. I mean, it's the bike, like you said. At some point, you're gonna fall, right? It's just gonna happen. Is when it happens, right?
Yeah, but I think that's the same situation too. Because so I had a friend that had a Roach Crockett when I was younger. So
Yeah,
I knew I was gonna get another bike again.
yeah.
But when I was married, my wife, I
She's
wasn't getting
like,
a bike. So after
no,
my divorce, that's I was getting a bike, but I wasn't gonna get a Rush Crockett because I knew I'd kill myself. I
right,
honest because of the speed.
beat, right,
Um, and that's one thing too. My kids knew after I got my Harley, if I died on my bike, they knew I died happy.
right,
I told them that they knew that if I could have the worst fucking day of my sorry for my language, if I had the
right.
worst day of my life, and and get home. If I got on that bike and ride it for half hour and came back, okay, let me deal with the situation now. It
Right.
just cleared my mind.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I think that, I got a lot of friends who ride the bike, and, I've always decided, and I got to a point now because, maybe to the point where you're married, like, you got a lot of people depend on you. But again, to your point, and by the way, just so we know this, like, with this podcast, like, I want you to be you, how I show up and whatever happens. Don't worry about like things there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of things I respect you. So, and I appreciate you, uh, about your language. You don't have to worry about that. I just want to make that point. But let's say this, man, when you think about you going to the gym, how's training, like lifting, going in the gym, how does that change your mindset? Or what does that do? How does that help you? I guess maybe why
Well,
you want to
here
answer
me
that.
go back a little bit. So in 2024, I tried to go to the gym. I
Hmm.
didn't have my prosthetic leg yet.
Okay.
I went in with my wheelchair. Um, I was going a little bit here every day for a little bit, but it was challenging to
Hmm.
get out of the truck, get the wheelchair, and get in. And then when I got in there, certain times it's crowded,
Right.
and
Right.
and so it was hard to use machines, and it was very hard. It was intimidating. I was
Hmm.
intimidated,
Right.
and I finally just I gave up and I stopped. So I worked on my mental health a little bit more, and then when I went back in 2025, I told myself in 2024, okay, 2025, beginning of 2025, I'm going to start going to the gym continuous. I need to get stronger on my upper body
Right.
because
Right.
I need that because I can tell how weak I am when I do certain things.
Hmm.
So as I started doing that, the first week was okay. I made it through the first week. You're great, just doing. But when I started going, I also got the help from my physical therapy
Hmm.
place where I went to my physical therapy. Uh, Crystal, the therapist, she came with her boyfriend and helped me see what to do, showed me what to do on
They
some
came
of the
to the gym
machines.
with you.
Yeah, they came to the gym with me.
Oh,
She's a
that's
member
awesome.
there.
Oh,
She's a
sweet.
member.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's a member there. So she came and she goes, "Hey, let's try this and do this." And then, I did that, and she
Hmm.
showed me, and that's what I did. And ever since then, that's what helped me kind of, grateful for that opportunity because
Right.
she didn't have to do that out of her own
Right.
time to come to the gym and show me. No,
Right.
she did it out of a kindness. So I really do appreciate that. And then I just started doing the machines and started getting. I could feel okay. I'm getting strong. So I went up a weight. Okay,
Nice.
I come. All right, now I went up a weight. Now, okay, that feels good. It
Yeah.
felt good. So I didn't want to stop, and I'm still taking my time because I still have a torn rotator cuff. So
Hmm.
it's. I don't want to do too much and make it hurt it worse. So
Right.
I'm taking my time. I'm learning a lot more about my body, what I can do, can't do
Right.
as we get older. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to get like bulk, Arnold Schwarzenegger type.
Right.
I
Right.
just want to be toned and feel good that I can lift myself up and do certain things. If I fall, I can get back up,
Well,
because falling with a prosthetic leg is not easy getting back up.
yeah. Well, first of all, let me tell the audience, people that are tuned in here, what you do today. Today, you were doing a Bulgarian split squat, which means you have to put your leg up on a box and stand on the other leg by itself. I know you were next to the post, and I was actually looking for the pole. There's those PCV pipes or whatever else to see if I can help you, or like, and we don't have any. I didn't see them in that gym, so
Yeah.
I sometimes I take the really light barbell, that's the
Oh
long
yeah,
ones,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
do that. I use that. So if you can't, next time, maybe like the 30 or 20 or 30 pound you can carry. But the thing that I want to just point out right now is that you're talking, right now, like some people wouldn't be in the gym just because of the fact of what you went through. But you're in the gym, and you're not just going to the gym to go through motions. Like when I say most people don't with both legs don't do Bavarian split squats. It's one of the hardest exercises to do. They're painful. They're tough.
Yeah.
I love doing them because it's just for some reason I've always had this fascination in doing things with leg workouts. But what I want to say, man, is when I watch you in the gym, you know, people will come up to me and be like, "Oh man, you look like you're in shape and this and that." I'm like, "That's cool." Like I know what that is and how much layers that is. But to me, and again, specifically about you, watching you work and watching you like not only okay, so you do Bavarian split squats. Then over here watching you do deadlifts. Then I'm watching you on the leg press, right? I'm like this dude is not like you are moving through life in the gym like you didn't have the prosthetic. And to me, when you talked about like, oh, I got to get strong and everything else, like, dude, you're built different. And like, we didn't really talk about who Marcello was before the accident, but the thing is like when I see you, that's motivation to me. And I don't know if most people say this, people that like myself who are coaches and stuff, but the biggest thing that motivates me is seeing people, regardless of where they're at in their fitness journey, working their ass off. Like that to me, to see that you are pushing yourself, seeing that you're challenging yourself, seeing that you're in there every day, you're showing up. There is not a time that I watch you in the gym and you're not working. Like that to me is a testament to your desire, your will, the will for you to continue to grow and get stronger. And bro, if you end up like Schwarzenegger, you end up like Schwarzenegger, but you're doing some amazing work, bro. And I hope you're proud of that. And I hope that also, I'm not just saying this because, just to say it, that I got a lot of love for you, but I also want to just say to you, man, like you're motivating me. So the more you continue to do what you're doing, it's a motivation. I don't know. Like I've had injuries where I was like, I had my patella tendon tore and they put me in a straight leg cast for 13 weeks. And the first week I'm sitting at home after surgery and I'm losing my mind because I can't get up and go do anything. Right. And the reality is I knew eventually I would get out of I had my leg. Right. And I remember, and I'll just, this is to put more emphasis on your story than it is on mine. Because I remember, and this is a mirror. So what I'm reflecting on is this. When I go back and I think about, like, I started getting depressed myself and I was crying because by myself I was lonely. And interesting thing is when I was going through that, that's kind of when I met my wife too. And she showed up for me big time. But the biggest thing I could tell you was it was my right leg and I had a cast from my ankle all the way to my groin. So trying to drive a car with a straight leg, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I will tell you this: I went in my car, I crutched out, I brought this like a sheet and I rolled it up, and I put it. Well, first I got in the car without anything, and I was like, I got to keep leaning to try to like move to break my foot from the gas to the brake, and so then I put the sheet underneath me, so it kind of propped me up a little bit, and I was able to kind of move my foot back and forth like this. I sat back a little bit, and I was like, I'm going back to work. Actually, before I did that, I went to the gym, and I crutched in the gym, and people were like, what are you doing here? I was like, if I don't come in the gym, I'm gonna lose my mind right now. So I'm saying that because as much as that was a challenge for me, I couldn't imagine going through what you went through. And I've, again, and what you continue to work through, bro. So I want to say this, like, the strength that you've talked about and you've communicated right now through all this, bro, like it makes me feel like, one, it's honored to be able to share your story, but it also it tells me like, you know, like there's more. Like, first of all, it's like stop being weak, you know. But at the same time, I'm like, there's so much more that when we're pushed to it, and sometimes, you know, like we don't have to wait till something tragic happens to push ourselves harder, challenge ourselves more. And you right now, you have a decision. You don't have to do what you're doing. You have every excuse in the world to not do what you're doing. You could easily say, "Oh, I lost my leg. Oh, this or this or that," and you're not doing that. You didn't choose that. And something I'll tell you, like you keep coming back, and you keep coming back, and you keep coming back, and like I kid you not, man. Like I have to say this every time I look at you, I'm like, I'm beyond impressed of you, and I'm so proud to call you a friend. But I'm also like knowing that there's more than just seeing what you are doing in the gym. One thing I want to transition to is let's talk about doing the your community service and going to the trauma center. I think this is a big part. We want to talk about why you do that, and I'll let you roll with that.
Okay. So the time that I was there at the hospital, the care that I received was just phenomenal. From my ICU nurse to my other nurses to the floor I went to, everything was just phenomenal. Even my family, my immediate family, because they were there a lot, um, just were amazed of how good they were to me.
Mm,
Even when I went to the other hospital, how good it was to me. So when I got home, I had time, going to a therapist, get my mindset. I had it, seeing a therapist, once a week to get where I needed to be. I had to learn to love myself again.
mm,
So once I figured that out, accepted me, who I am, loved myself again, and I realized that all the stuff that I did, there was a purpose why my accident happened 4 miles from Pomona Valley Hospital.
wow.
Maybe God, a purpose there. So I wanted to go back and be a volunteer. I wanted to help people because of what the nurse told me too. There's people that have nobody,
Right.
and
Wow.
that set in for me. So when I called back and left a few messages. I finally got a call back, and they called me back, and so they said, "Hey, why don't you come to a meeting and check out this advisory board? It's a patient family advisory council board.
Wow.
So they go over everything within the hospital, each department, what's
Mm-hmm.
going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, that's cool. What's a better way to understand the hospital, how it works, than being on a board
Right.
and understanding the process? So I said, hell yeah. So I joined up. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
part of that. Well, the director of that introduced me to trauma services,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a department of trauma services. So I met Belinda, which she's in charge. She's the head charge of director of trauma services. She invited me to lunch with the team. I went over there and told my story, and I told them I wanted to help out, and they were all on board.
Wow.
So they said yes. Let me just figure this stuff out, because I didn't want to just be a normal volunteer. So they figured it out. We finally got a thing. Hey, you know what? Why don't you come in, and we'll give you a list of patients. We'll a little bit at a time, see how you do, and you go talk to them and see how what happens. Because basically, if a nurse or a doctor comes in and say, "Hey, I know how you feel," no, you don't know how I
No,
feel.
you don't.
You have no clue how I feel. But I can walk in and say that because I lived it. I went
Right.
through it and I lived it, and I know what it takes to be on the other side.
Mm.
So that's why this reason why I decided to do that. And my very first and my very first patient that I got to see, I take that back. The second patient was in the same room that I was in the ICU.
Wow.
Um, to walk in there and I realized it, and to change that negative into a positive, I looked at it. You know what? The guy couldn't talk, but the mom was there. So I realized, you know what? I'm here to support him and the mom.
Wow.
I'm on the
Right.
other side now. I'm not there. So I'm here to help him to get through whatever he needs to get through. So
Right.
that's what, and I kept on doing it. And I do it, try to do it twice a week,
Nice.
and go see patients. I try to see it all depends, who comes in and stuff, between 4 to 8.
Wow.
It depends, how some of them I do connect, some of them I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I give a hand, let them know that they're not alone. That's the thing. I just want to let them know that they're not alone.
Right.
They might not need the help right now, um, but when they're ready for the help, all they got to do is just call trauma services and let them know that they need some resources, and then we'll give them the resources to help them.
Right. Yeah, it's powerful because to me it seems like God is working through you too in those situations because you experienced it, like you said, you understand it, but it also is bringing something else out of you. And especially if you connect or you don't, it's also probably it sounds like it's also a healing for you too, as you went into the same room you were in on the second visit. It almost says like you were here before and you know how it felt. Like this person needs you. What would they need? What would you want it? Right. And the fact that you have the mindset and heart to think about the fact that some people don't have what you had and you're going to be that for them. Right. You want to show up and let them know that they're not alone. So I think I commend you, man. And, I think life is about reciprocity. Like sometimes you're grateful for what you did. You said, thank God I didn't die. Right. But at the same time, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're serving back, you're giving back. And I think that's huge. And the fact that, you're still in the journey that you're faced with. I just think there's a lot to be, and that's admirable, but it's just to me, I mean, as a man, a lot of times we miss the fact that sometimes it's really about showing up for others. Even though you might be still going through something, showing up for somebody else really matters. And you don't even know who these people are, right? But then you get
No.
to know them. You give them words of encouragement. They see you at a place where they don't know where they're going. And so there's some things you can give them some confidence in, and assurance to make sure that they feel a little bit more at ease, even though I know it's probably way more challenging than I can imagine because I've never experienced it myself. So, and I think it matters. And I think from a spiritual side of things, I think, sometimes the reason why God puts us through those things is because that feeling of empathy and that feeling of like what you went through, someone is sitting there and without you having the experiences you had, you're not able to serve as much as you would. If I walked in there and I'm all and able, and I got this great heart, and I maybe really want to help them, I probably could, but not like you can, right? Not like in the level that you could. And so, that's a blessing, and I think that you're serving doing the right thing. So, let's say this. One of the things I wanted to kind of just have a conversation. I really want this to kind of resonate, and I just want to ask a few things, and I'm going to stick to two. I had like five, but I really want to ask this is when you think about being resilient, right? When you think about a message to men and you think about resilience, what would you say? What would you say to men if you had a message to men about resilience, being resilient?
You got
Let
to
me.
think.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
You got to think. You really got to think what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do, what you want to accomplish.
Right.
It's not just not going through the motion.
Right. Let me ask you a
Um,
question. Do you give up?
I don't give up. I just have days. I have harder days than others.
Right.
I don't give up. So
Right.
it's not, I don't. You know, so here's the thing. Here's my quote.
Okay.
I tell this to everybody. If you can't take a full step, take a half a step. If you can't take a half a step, take a quarter of a step. But just don't go backwards.
Mm.
It's okay for people like us or anybody can have a bad day. It's so you're entitled to have a bad day.
Right.
It's you're entitled, but try not to have consecutive bad days.
Right.
Try to turn that second. If you wake up in a bad mood, try to turn that into a positive, or,
Mm-hmm.
in a positive way. Um, but the if you give up, it's just going to make it harder. Here's the thing: I gave up on going to the gym. Here's a good example. I gave up in
Right.
2024 because I wasn't there mentally ready yet,
Mm-hmm.
and and it showed. So I worked on my mental state,
Right.
and I had to do it. So I worked on my mental state, and I where I got to feel comfortable about myself, and I knew I was in a better place. So as I gotten better, my therapist kind of okay, let's go every other week.
Mm.
She saw improvement. She gave me things to do. Okay, let's go once a month. All right, let's go every 3 months. Because I was getting better.
That's
So
good.
everything she showed me, I used that in daily life. I got better at it. it takes time.
Right.
You have to put in the work,
Right.
and even with physical therapy, I had to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to grow.
No.
And I'm still growing.
Right.
I don't know everything. Yeah, do I have life experience? Hell yeah, I have life experience.
Right.
But do
100%.
I know everything? No, I don't know everything. I'm willing to keep on growing, and I'm going to still keep on growing, and I'm going to learn from people that I like, from you, from anybody that I meet, and learn from them and grow and use, how do you say, use their life experience as growth for me.
Right.
Because here's the thing, at the gym, I didn't realize it after you go. If you if you go all the time, you'll see people all the time. You'll
Right.
see regulars. If you don't go all the time, you don't know who's regulars or not.
Right.
So as you go all the time, now I see. And I had a lady come up to me and tell me, I didn't want to come to the gym today, but I see you come in every day, and I see, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. And I just like, man, thank you. That made me feel really good.
Right.
And we talk to this day, whenever I see her.
Nice.
Um, So it's just, you can't give up. There's plenty of life left to live. Like I have on my arm, I have a tattoo. I lost a limb, but I have plenty of life left to live. To live, and you gotta push through it. You gotta keep on pushing it. Because you're down doesn't mean you're down forever. Just because you lose something, it doesn't mean you lose it forever. Your luck is maybe on the downside. Doesn't mean your luck's going to be like that forever. God pushes you and challenges you. Don't know why, but he does. And
Right.
and to me, I think he challenges the people that are strong because he knows that they can get through it. They figure a way to do it, and that's just life. You got to keep on pushing.
Right. Yeah. One of the reasons why I was trying to provoke you for the whole like quit, I wanted to be like, no, because what you just said, it wraps up a lot of stuff I talk about, when I talk to a lot of my clients, because everyone is trying to like make this huge quantum leap. And to your point, like take a step, take a half a step, take a quarter step, but don't, as long as you just don't take a step backwards. Right. And the reality is what you did wasn't wrong. You were like, hey, right now, like I'm not ready for the gym. What I need to do is go get my mind right. And I think sometimes people are unwilling to unpack and do the small things first and do them consistently, because what led you back to the gym was taking care of, making sure that you mentally were ready for the gym.
Okay, here's an example. How about, like, okay, given New Year, you've
Yeah.
been there going to gym for a while.
Right.
After New Year's, there's so many people that go there
Come
and
on.
let's
Preach,
go.
bro.
Okay, you think 3 days is going to bulk you up? No,
Right.
it's Rome wasn't built in a day,
Right.
you have to be patient. That's one thing I learned is patience.
Right. You said that
Uh,
earlier. You said
yeah,
you were not a patient person. You said
no, I
earlier, you're
wasn't.
like, this thing drove you, because you were ready to go home, even though you were like, there was no way you were going home 24 hours after
No,
that accident.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Marcelo, I think, when when the woman came up to you and said, if you can do it, I can do it. I think, your story in itself, first of all, the way you show up, I said that earlier, is motivation and inspirational. But my question to you is, when you start really thinking about, actually, I don't want to do that. What I want to say is that you are an inspiration to me, myself. Like, you might think, oh, Zim, you work out and you're great, but you're inspiring me too. When you show up every day, it like the normal people that are there, when I see them working, it's why I love being in the gym, is because it just, the energy, the energy itself, how you show up really brings it. So I want to do this. And I want to just say this to you, because I want to make sure that I get as much as this out of here. I want to guide you through a bit of a conversation. And what I'd like to do is, it's not like rapid fire, but just to a point to like just get this out, because what I want to talk about is some principles to live by, right? And so,
okay.
what's one thing you tell yourself every morning?
I I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I When I wake up, I gotta get up. I gotta I gotta put my leg on. I gotta do I gotta do my routine.
Mm,
Um, I just can't pop out of bed.
yeah.
You know. Um, do Here's one thing. When I wake up, I'm
Mm,
usually I'm not like a grumpy wake up guy. I usually wake up pretty calm, pretty, okay. But there's times where I wake up, I'm tired. There's times where I
Mm,
am tired. Um, but I push myself through it because if I don't go to the gym and because I'm tired, the rest of the day I just feel just like
mm.
it just makes it longer.
I feel
Uh,
that.
you know, but I know that I wake up. Let me finish today. If I finish today, I know I'll wake up tomorrow. But
Mm,
it's not guaranteed waking up. But at
right,
least I know I did everything I can today.
right. I know when you
So
what the first thing I thought when you said get up was like thinking about you even being in an accident. Like the fact that things were challenging me. Now you know, like get up. Like it's like a challenge for you every day because one of the things that you went through is being in a situation where getting up was like you didn't know how that was going to happen, but you had it in your heart that you were going to get up.
well, I'm very thankful that I didn't get up and not forget that I didn't have a leg.
Right.
You know, because I've seen people do that, and I have a process. I either have to get up and use a walker, or I get
Mm,
up and use a crutches before I put my, to go to, if I get up early in the morning to go to the restroom,
right.
or shower. I gotta have a shower chair in my shower.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't redone the kitchen yet or the bathroom yet to
Yeah.
put a seat in there. So it's not just I can't. If there was an earthquake, first thing I'd be looking for is my leg. You know,
Right. Right.
if I can't,
Right.
it's right by my bed. But if it's that bad, I would have to crawl.
Right.
Crawl out just to get out of the house. You know, it's my life, my routine. It might take me longer, but I
Mm-hmm.
have a routine.
Right.
But that's part of. I accepted it. I had
Yeah.
to learn to accept it because if I didn't accept it, then I think I'd be having a difficult time.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: what do you want people to take away from your story?
That I didn't give up. If I didn't give up, I just want to help others. That I want them to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
If they're struggling, you know, reach out to me. If not, or look at my story and use that as motivation.
Right.
Um, I just want people to understand that because I lost my prosthetic, or I have a prosthetic,
Mm-hmm.
I lost my leg. Didn't change me as a. I mean, I'm a better person, but it didn't change me as my own personality.
Right.
I'm not mad. I'm still me. I laugh. Look, on my first day home, on my way home, I wore a sweatshirt. My friends from work gave it to me. Says, "Hey, this is what happens when you miss leg day."
Oh wow.
I wore
Okay.
that home, and when I walked in, and my daughter surprised me too. My
Mm-hmm.
daughter, when I got home, my first day home, that was December 22nd. I had family and friends here, and they all laughed when I walked in, and they all joke, like Marcel, how can you joke at this time? I go, you need laughter
Right.
because there's what I'm going through. I can't be serious all the time. I need laughter. I need
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy life. I don't want to. It's not because I lost a leg doesn't mean I can't still enjoy life.
Right.
You know, there's people out there that don't have nobody. I hope that someone that doesn't have anybody can look at my story and say, you know what, he's right. I'm not alone. I just got to reach out.
Right.
You got to reach out. You just got to reach out.
Yeah, bro. By the way, we didn't say this yet, but you just acknowledged it. You made it home on December 22nd. You said I want to be home for Christmas. You did
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You did that. Yeah, man. Like I know we didn't get. I know you mentioned it earlier, but we never said it. And right now, I think first of all, it's important. Isn't it interesting how goals help, right? And I'll tell you right now, like to know that you made it home December 22nd and to be able to have a little bit of laughter in a moment, bro, says a lot about, your mindset. I want to ask you another question. What are you still chasing?
Um, Growth.
Mm, amen.
You know, look, I have some other things that I'm still going through.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm living off savings.
Yep.
Trying to find a job. Um, but if I don't grow, I won't be able to get through anything. You can. I'm not be just. You got to keep on growing. You got to keep on going up.
Right.
You might just flatten out a little bit, but you got to still keep on growing.
Right.
And that's where and I look back at things too. I go back and read all my notes or my cards and everything to stay
Mm-hmm.
humble
Yeah.
because it made me realize, you know what? Yeah, I still can keep on pushing. Yes, I'm still here. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
doing it. It
Mm-hmm.
might take me longer, but I just want to grow. keep on
Yeah.
growing.
Another question for you. Amen to that, by the way. What does redemption mean to you?
Man, I just don't give up. I redeem myself by accepting for what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take things out on people that your loved ones that care about you. Um, Life is difficult as it is,
It is.
and when tragedy happens, you have to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might take time, um, but you got to keep on moving forward. You
Right.
just got to keep on pushing. You got to keep on moving forward.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
I think you live a day. You live redemption every day when you get up, because I think the
yeah,
fact that when you tell yourself I got to get up, it's redemption. You know, you're taking action in your day, and you know what you need to do. My next question is, what is God teaching you in this season?
God's teaching me to be patient because I'll tell you this right now: if it wasn't for my dad, if it wasn't for certain people, I'd be homeless.
Wow.
I'd be homeless. No, think about it. Living on if my savings and savings get so cheap, I can't get unemployment yet. I mean, not unemployment. I can't get a retirement yet.
Right.
So young. I trying for state disability,
Mm.
Social Security. So,
Wow.
I use all my short term disability already. Um, the process of a Social Security permanent disability is a process that takes forever. It's already been on almost 2 years.
Wow.
March will be 2 years that my application has been in. Um, to How do I say it's I'm going through challenges every day,
Right.
and I'm still not giving up. I'll figure it out. I'm on a low right now, but I'll get back up. See, I'm not looking to get rich. I'm not looking to
Mm-hmm.
be, because eventually I want to do some things, and if I able to do it, I'm not looking to be a billionaire or anything like that. All I want is to live comfortably, but I also want to help others at the same
Right.
time. I don't want to lose my journey. I don't want to have to. This is what happens when people go through what I went through. Sometimes they're forced to stop their journey and focus on just surviving.
Mm.
And then when you have to just to focus on surviving, you lose track of your journey, and it can affect you personally because you're not dealing with your mental state.
Right.
If you don't deal with your mental state, if you don't be a man and man up that you need help, how are you gonna be good for your kids? How are you gonna be good for anybody?
Everybody else. Right. Right. By the way, bro, you are helping people already. Just let you know, whatever God has gotten, well, he's laid the foundation of that, and you're already doing it. Let me say this, bro. I want to first of all, I want to thank you for, taking the time to tell your story. And here's the thing, like, I think there's so much more that we could talk about, but we'd be here, for hours on hours, right? There's so many things I want to dive into more, but I want to just kind of do this, if you don't mind. One of the things as I'm sitting here, just in the spirit of things, is that, I got this energy while you were talking, and I was asking you about, like, what's resilience and what does redemption mean to you and all that. And one of the things I had to pull back in myself and to think about is, where what you've been through is such a powerful experience in your life, and what you just talked about. I wish my podcast was like millions of people, because what people need to see is that there are men like you, there are people like you who are amazing people, great hearts, have had an experience in life, and the world will help, right? And so if I could, what I'm gonna do on this podcast, especially, I'm probably gonna go back and add something here to the beginning of it. But to really say that if there's a way for someone can help you with work, someone can help you with, figuring out this process for this disability process, whatever it is, I want to see if I can do something to help put more attention and give you some guidance to help you get what you need. You deserve that. I also want to say too that, one of the reasons why I do this podcast is because I think as men, we've got to continue creating spaces where we can talk about stuff, where you talked about, not wanting to ask for help or being vulnerable or crying in front of your kids. Like some of the things that we talk about strength, a lot of that stuff is never what strength is. What strength is that you're standing up every day. You're showing up every day. There's no quit in the way you work. And to be honest with you, you're doing way more than I ever would thought. Someone who's had your leg loss, you're doing way more than I would think anyone would do. So I'm saying this, for number one, for men who are watching this, like I created this space because I really wanted to show I got amazing people like yourself, Marcello, in my life. And I definitely think that what you shared today is definitely a story of redemption. It's a story of a tragic accident that turns a man into a better man. Not that you weren't great before that, but it turns you to a better man. It gives you, it took something from you, but it gave you more in return. Right. And I think the biggest thing that I could say is that, if we're dealing with stuff and you're dealing in a situation right now and, you're thinking about, what to do next, the biggest thing that I can say that I walked away from this is to take another step. Even if you got one leg, right? Mm-hmm. Take another step. I think sometimes people go, how can I do this? This is impossible. You have one leg, but you can take that step. And again, there's so much more to this. And I pray about the fact that like, I can find the best way to share stories like yourself and be supportive of you as well as you continue to go through your journey. Continue to be a man in your life that supports what you do, how you do. The other day when I was trying to help you do the resistance band, kind of like deadlift stuff, like as I walked away and I was helping you, I was like, I need to do more of this. Like I need to take some time. If you're okay with it, I want to do more of that stuff with you to help because, ultimately at the end of the day, like you deserve that too. And again, like I do that cause you're my brother, bro. And, I wasn't there for you and I didn't know you at the time before you had an accident, but I can tell you right now, I want to be there for you, continue to help you meet your, meet your goals, continue to help you grow and, continue to support you, bro.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And it's not just you. There's other, like your wife. I met your wife at the gym. There's a lot of people, even like Joanne I met. Even your wife gave me a tip on when I'm trying to do some things. And she showed me much better, So I'm learning from people. And it's just, if you want to grow, it's okay to ask for help because there's people that have been doing it for longer. And I'm new to it because haven't really gone to the gym before my accident. Right. But it's okay, The only way you're going to grow as a person is by learning from somebody or asking for help.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. There's people who are self-taught. I get that. But from learning from someone that's been doing it, or you can see you could tell who works out and who is there just to socialize.
Right. Of course. Right.
So those, but for the most part, there's nothing but positive vibe when I walk into that gym.
Right.
Everybody's smiling. I don't see anybody that, like in a bad mood.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, the gym is the culture there is great. Well, let me say this, man, let's wrap this up. I want to, again, thank you for, showing up, Marcello. And I think, one of the things I'll just say, my final message here is that, from the beginning of our conversation, I kind of jumped right in about your accident and everything else. And I think the biggest thing I want to take away is that I really want to encourage men to continue standing up, no matter what season they're in, right? Continue to stand up, continue to look. But I also want to say that I invite people into the space and more men, like I'm creating a community behind this as well, so that men can have spaces to talk about if it's, things they're doing with fatherhood. You've been a single dad and a mom for so many years, and like most of your daughter's life, all your daughter's life seems like. The other thing about that too is when we're dealing with our fitness journeys, right? Being able to be a place where you can ask the right questions and get some guidance and have a support, because the one thing you just talked about, the gym, imagine you had a whole bunch of bros you can connect with that are, when you take a video of you doing your Bulgarian split squat and you'd be like, fellas, look what I did today. Right. And having that kind of support, that's the kind of community I want to build. But also too, without this being the least thing, but the first thing is that, with all this stuff, I believe that God is leading a lot of this. And I feel like, as we start to think about your story, God protected you. God has carried you through. And it's a testimony of resilience and redemption, because, so many people, when you said there's, depending on how many people are in the trauma unit, it's crazy when you don't realize how often these things are happening until you experienced it and you're there. And so you enlighten me that there's more people out there experiencing these types of things. But also too, man, like I just have to say this, like when we talk about no quit and we talk about being the man that God intended us to be, it doesn't matter in what season we call it joy. And what you showed me was that even when it was hard for you, you found peace in it. You found joy in it. You started the acceptance and those things that you had to work and that you're continuing working for. So just like we prayed before this, man, I'm going to continue praying for you as my brother, man. And, when you show up, just know that I got nothing but love for you. I definitely want to keep you accountable for getting to those goals, because you're that kind of guy, man. So thank you again, bro. And much respect to you for all the things that you've endured, but all the things that you've accomplished and continue to achieve, bro.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Life's too short to give up.
Right. Well, let me do this, man. I'm gonna take you off screen for a second. And I'm just gonna do this final thing, and we're gonna wrap this up. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So guys, Marcello has a great story and is living it. And I want to say, your story is important too. And everything that you've experienced and stuff like that, if you're paying attention, God is working in your life, and God is asking you to pay attention and to follow and be obedient. And I think as men, we're called to lead. And sometimes that leading might be showing people how to overcome or how to get through those tragic moments, those obstacles, that adversity that you're faced with. Marcello had one that most of you that are watching my channel have never experienced. And the reason why I wanted him to come on to my channel today to talk in the Redemption podcast is because there's all kind of different stories of redemption. My story of redemption is different than Marcello's, and Marcello's story of redemption is different than most people, but we all have one. And the thing is that we got to continue working at it every day. The thing that I can take away from Marcello is that, the circumstances in his life completely have changed. But what hasn't changed is who he is, who he's always been, and who he continues to want to work towards, the things that he's still chasing, the strength that he wants to build, the purpose that he wants. He has dreams and goals that he wants to be able to help others. And so I want to ask you guys, if you're in this, in the comments, give me some prayer hands. Pray for Marcello as he continues to, work through the challenges he had, working through being a caretaker for his dad, and also to praying for opportunities for his employment, his disability, and all those things that he needs to happen, because I know when God is involved, God will do it in abundance. So I'm asking you guys all to pray for him. And again, like I'll say, thank you guys for joining, coming into the podcast. Thank you for rocking me. All of you that support and subscribe, thank you so much. I know this was a long one, but I think it was important for us to have this. And I will say this, it's our responsibility every day to show up as men and to continue to work on your redemption story and to be the man that God intended to be. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in again, and I'll see you guys next time. Let's go.